So hi everyone, it's Dr. Glenn Davies coming to you from the greenhouse, and today we are going to talk about health coaching and health coaches. So at Reversal NZ we use health coaches to assist people, to assist clients with their behavioural change. So what is a health coach? So a health coach is trained to listen with curiosity and without judgment. So let's just think about that for a little while, and let's just think about the way that we listen. So when we're listening, are we listening with curiosity? Do we really want to understand about that person? Do we really want to understand what's motivating them? Do we really want to understand what's behind things? Or are we a bit bored when we're listening? Are we just listening, forming the next question or the next part of our argument in our mind? So to listen with curiosity means to really listen with the desire to understand, and to listen without judgment. Now, I think it is such a difficult thing to do. We all have our own bias. We have our own cognitive bias. We tend to listen from that place of judgment. So what about if we could put that judgment completely out of our mind and we could listen with curiosity without judging? We would be so much better at listening. Now, it's all about the client's agenda, not our own agenda. So I think I'm guilty of this significantly as a general practitioner. Because of the time constraints, I'm not really listening to that person, really trying to understand them. I'm probably more just listening because I feel I have to, and I'm wanting them to change, and I'm wanting it to be my agenda, not their own. So the health coach is listening with the client's agenda in mind. And their job is to guide behavioral change towards wellness. So to be there as a guide and to be walking beside the client as they go through that process of change and towards wellness. And I've got this amazing definition of wellness here: the degree to which one feels positive and enthusiastic about life. The degree to which one feels positive and enthusiastic about life. What a fantastic definition of wellness. Now, so one of the problems that I have as a doctor is that I consider myself to be the expert in my client's health, whereas the reality is that the individual is the expert in their own health. And you don't have to think about that too much to realize that that must be true. You know, they know themselves, they know their values, they know what motivates them. So the client is the expert in their own health, not the practitioner. And one of the key aspects of what the health coach is doing is they acknowledge that the client will have the solutions, that the client will know what it is, and they're really just helping to uncover that information. And they do that by asking power questions. So you'll notice that the health coach doesn't often use the word why, because why has associated with it an accusation. They'll often use the word how, or can you expand on that, or can you give me more information, or I'd really love to understand more about what you're trying to convey to me. So those are power questions that really help to uncover, to understand what are the values, what are the reasons behind the statement. And the coach will often just expand on what someone has said to them. It's digging deeper and deeper into the question. Now, one of the mistakes that a doctor makes is that they assume that the person is ready to change, whereas a coach doesn't make that assumption. The coach recognizes that change is a process, and just because we've turned up for the consultation doesn't necessarily mean that we are ready to make the changes. So assessing readiness to change is a key feature of coaching. The client chooses their own goals, strategies, and targets. That's really important. If it's your own goal, you're far more likely to achieve it than if it's something that somebody has told you to do. The client feels affirmed and supported. Now, my partner, Vanessa, is a fantastic health coach. When she's listening to me, she is often listening using the health coach approach. And it's just a wonderful, amazing feeling to have somebody listen to you in that way. And absolutely, you feel affirmed and supported rather than judged and criticized. How often after a conversation with someone have you ended up feeling judged, criticized, wrong? A conversation with a health coach is you will feel supported, you won't feel judged, and at the end of it, you end up feeling good rather than going, I wish I hadn't started this process. So the health coach understands that behavioral change is often not easy. I think a doctor will assume that behavioral change is just starting at A, putting in place the change, ending up at B. Now, the reality is so far different from that, isn't it? It's more like a tangled piece of wool. So change, sometimes you're in a knot, sometimes you're going back on yourself. Perhaps a little bit more like tacking a yacht. You can't sail straight into the wind. Sometimes you have to go at 45 degrees to the left, then you have to tack to 45 degrees to the right. And the coach understands that behavioral change requires support. You may fall off the wagon and you might have to get back on the wagon, and you might fall off again and you might have to get back on, and it may take a whole lot more time than had been initially anticipated, but your coach understands that. They understand that behavioral change is a process, not a straight line from A to B. And they recognize that the client is naturally creative and resourceful. They already have the solutions, and it's just a matter of helping them to find the solution. So at Reversal NZ, we use health coaches. We do certainly have doctors who will help make the diagnosis and do that doctor stuff. But then the behavioral change, the putting this into place, whether that being reversing diabetes or some other aspect of metabolic syndrome, that's where the health coach comes in to offer that support and to help the client get from A to B. We use Precure trained health coaches preferentially. Precure is an amazing organisation that's run by Louise and Grant Schofield. You all know Grant Schofield from the What the Fat series. And they train health coaches, and their health coaches are absolutely superb. So 100% endorsement for the Precure health coach training program. We love what they do, and that's why we preferentially at Reversal NZ use the Precure trained health coaches. So I'm not trained as a health coach. That is one thing that is high on my priority list to do as soon as I can. So that's a little talk through health coaching, what the health coach approach is, and why you may consider a health coach if you're trying to change a behavior, particularly if it's something that's been with you for a long time. So that is health coaching.